Namaste and welcome to Bhoom of Bharat with Ramma Shivkumar, founder CEO SRK Game Changers, where we bring in a unique update each day, each week about GCC. SRK Game Changers is a GCC consulting services organization providing advisory, governance, and setup services across talent, business operations, and workplace solutions. We deliver customized, high performing global capability centers that encourage AI and digital innovation. We leverage the expensive skilled talent pool and groom the next generation leaders who make GCCs as indispensable part of the corporations. Our tailored workplace solutions build technology as a core foundation. Thank you so much for encouraging remarks and for recognizing these distinctions of our podcast format and the themes we explored with our guests. Your feedback reinforces our belief that these conversations are both timely and meaningful for the GCC ecosystem. Today, we have very unique guest, Gayathri Parthasarathy, who's there, a very well-known leader in the industry. And our podcast theme with her is Next Generation GCC, AI, Talent, and India rise as a global capability powerhouse. Welcome, Gayathri, to our podcast, Bhoom of Bharat. And Gayathri brings in 35 plus years of experience in financial services across strategy, technology, transformation, working across domestic, global capability centers, and global clients. Her experience spreads across banking, capital markets, and very closely she's working with also the government. So Gayathri is currently playing as a role of advisor in PwC. So Gayathri, for the benefit of our guest, can I request you to please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Rama. A very good afternoon, and it's lovely to be here today. And as you said, I think you covered many, you've been kind enough to sort of introduce me. And I bring in 35 plus years of experience, predominantly in financial services. And I worked across, I would say, all of the areas of go to market, be it in domestic clients in India or global capability centers, which is the GCCs, across again geographies, whether it is APAC, Middle East, Africa, right, in terms of also doing in Europe and US extensively. And I also have worked with global clients. And I've lived across, right, 20 plus countries in my career, delivering global projects. And I've worked across all continents, if I can say so. And I have done a good amount of work in banking and capital markets, which is my home. But at the same time, I've also done a large amount of work in asset management, wealth management, and the insurance industry. So because I think I've been in financial services throughout, and my roles have been that I've been able to cover all the subsectors of financial services. My innings has been covering across global organization. Currently, I'm at PwC as an advisor. Prior to that, I was the country leader for financial services across all our services on assurance, tax, and advisory. And I was also the global leader of technology for financial services, PwC. Prior to that, I've worked with organizations like IBM, Accenture, KPMG, and Oracle Financial Services Software. And, that is the kind of background that I bring in. Thanks, Rama, again. And it's lovely to be here today.
Oh, thank you so much once again, Gayathri, and welcome to our podcast. And first of all, congratulations on your recent feature as Business Talks.
Thank you.
And you rightly said that, you have like more than 3 decades of leadership experience across business transformation, inner ownership, and, managing large scale organization. So what key shifts are you seeing in this GCC ecosystem today?
Absolutely. The GCC ecosystem, I think, is a beautiful story in the country, if I may say so. And it has moved from multi layers, like literally. It started initially as a shared services concept, wherein really people said, okay, this is a cost arbitrage, go get some work done out of India or in any other place, be it Poland or Czech or India or Philippines or whatever it is. But then slowly, over years and years, the color of GCC has changed in terms of what it can be doing and what it is currently doing in terms of what I can see. So the GCC ecosystem in India has seen truly a fundamental shift, I would say, in terms of from cost efficiency, as I told you. This is more about today, if I look at it, they are taking strategic control. They are looking at the speed to innovation and also the enterprise resilience. This covers all of the work that can be done across, right? That's the way the needle is moved from shared services cost model to move it completely to say that, yes, we will do strategic control and the innovation will happen out of India, so on and so forth, right? I think what stands out in my brain, right, in terms of the GCCs is no longer the downstream work that they will do, right? That is dead. That part is dead, right? In terms of whatever that was happening. Today's world, they become literally aligned to the vertical businesses. They become co-owners of the products or the processes. So there is a process co-owner or a product co-owner kind of this thing. So they really started working with product roadmaps. They are working with deep AI and data platforms. They are working extensively in data. They are also working and preparing, right, in terms of the customer experience journeys that ideally would be only in front office, the on-site, that is also moving to India. In some cases, right, even the pitch books are written out of India today. So that is the kind of change that we have been seeing, right, in the last few years. And that is also the growth of GCCs in the country, right, in terms of what it is happening. And leadership is also moving to India. That is also a very important aspect of the ecosystem change that I would say. And that means it is a very, very significant point, Rama, in my mind, that the talent maturity has shifted. No longer the talent maturity is at that level of the level where we used to think that I can only execute something. It is no longer that. It has matured to a level that I can take a deep domain expertise, or I can take a deep technology expertise, or I can do innovation from the country, or I can bring in operational resilience and excellence from the country. That is the way the talent maturity has also taken. So the ecosystem is completely changed. That is what I would say in what I have seen in last few years.
No, you're
Hope that makes sense.
yeah. No, you're absolutely correct. I go back and look at, 95, 96 when American Express started as a back office versus what it is today. And, you see all the big banks are already there in India. All of them have there. And, they're doing a lot. They're talking about fraud, you're talking about collections, you're talking about disputes. It's a very small layer. You're even talking on high-end innovations being done from India. So thank you so much for bringing that point. I think the related point, and especially for the mid-size, companies, MNCs looking to come to India. You're talking about US, UK, you're talking about European companies. So what message will you give them that they can also utilize the kind of framework or talent which is available in India?
Absolutely. Very valid question, Rama. See, people somewhere somehow think, right, in terms of GCCs means it has to be large, its scale, it has to be very big kind of a scenario. I think first and foremost, in my brain again, it is the intent. It has to start with the intent and not with the scale, right? If the intent is to look at in terms of creating the GCCs and use the knowledge pool, the talent pool, and the world's best practices that are available in the country, even for a mid-sized company, you have to start looking at what even you can start at 200 people, 100 people. It need not be 30,000 people. It need not be 50,000 people, right? So it is like few hundreds of people, right? In terms of including 150 to even 500, if I consider that as a very small mid-size range, the teams work beautifully well, right? In terms of what needs to be done. Look at AI, look at the data engineering concepts, platform modernization, product analytics. You can look at a plethora of things that they can do, right, out of India, right? For example, without naming a customer, I can tell you that one of the global players really wanted to start something in India because they were using service providers to deliver them on some of the values that they were looking at. Then they said, hey, I'm a very important entity in my country, but I need to have my presence in India as well. What can I do? But I will never be the scale of HSBC or Bank of America or right JP Morgan Chase or Goldman kind of scenario. I will not be. What can I do? But I am in my own space, I am very well known, right, in terms of what needs to be done. They came up with a strategy, a blueprint, and they said that some of the functions which are done in costly locations, right, in terms of in the US, they said that they will look at in terms of why not create a center of excellence in India. That's the way it was born. So the center of excellence had people with the relevant skills, right? In, as I said, right, in terms of wealth management, the capability of, right, in terms of analytics, the capability of data engineering, the capability of project management, the capability of, like, in terms of senior domain experts, right? And also everybody constituted the center of excellence that will be set up in India. And they've reached about 500 plus now, and their aim is to go to 1,000. Not that they are going to go to 10,000. Their objective is 1,000, and they are looking at in terms of innovation and the intent to use the talent and the knowledge pool in the country in the most right way. That is what I would say, Rama. Would be that have the top down messaging that yes, India is an important geography. We can't not have a presence in India. And having a presence in India actually helps us because you will learn the world's best practices at a variety of times, right? Because many people have done it, right? Many people have done it and learned from it. So how do I learn from it, and what is the benefit that will come to first my customers and two to my employees, both, right? At the end of the day, if you look at it that way with an intent, I think it works pretty well. That is what I would say.
No, no, thank you so much. And I was about to ask you about an example, but you already gave an example. For I would say the mid-sized company, you can also look at nano GCCs, and that's a
Of
concept
course.
these days, which is there because high end can be a nano GCC where you have your R&D labs, and that's what we also keep on telling some of these companies they want to kind of look at building your innovation labs here, which could provide you, data, which could provide you AI analytics, which also help you in terms of, your building RPAs and all. And you could use that, use even GCC ecosystem in India, the starter ecosystem, the academias, and that could really be very, very beneficial for you. So thank you so much. I think you brought
And
that.
I think one more point I would say is like, in terms of invest early in governance and culture. Though you are small, right? It doesn't matter
Yeah.
because then you are building a microcosm of your parent organization. And that is what is the success factor at the end of the day, right?
Mhm.
You have to have a microcosm and also have some leadership from global to come to India, touch and feel India, and or any other place, right? For that matter, wherever the location strategy can be different. Location strategy could be leading to any city in the country or outside the country also. But touch and feel and have the right kind of leadership and also invest early on governance and culture, which is very, very important for successful running of mid-sized organizations, especially. Otherwise, you'll soon lose the culture very soon before you
Yeah.
start.
No, I agree. That's a very valid point. And I think related to, I would also like to take your views on. We are talking about these days as GCCs become the enterprise brain centers, which are driving AI decision making, product innovation, and business intelligence globally. Any views you would have it on this?
When you say enterprise brain centers, is it like product innovation you're talking about and also the business intelligence and data kind of teams that is associated with it?
So I think if I say this is referring to both, because you are these days doing product innovation, you also bringing in the business intelligence. That would be, both. And I think you seem
Absolutely.
closely working with the government as well.
Got it. Got it. If you look at the enterprise brain center concept, right, on India based GCCs have become the kind of brain centers driving AI decisioning or product innovation and the business intelligence globally. I think we have already touched the tipping point or we have crossed the tipping point. The kind of work that is being done, the kind of humongous amount of work that is being done, right? I think it is already the case. It's no longer that we have to wait and prove that, yes, we are reaching there or we will do that, right? Etc. Because AI fundamentally changes where decisions are designed and optimized, right? Normally. And naturally, the decision intelligence, the model governance, the experimentation part of it, and continuous learning are gravitating to GCCs to aggregate the data the talent and operational context at scale. So it's already reaching the tipping point in my brain, and it will continue to be the case with respect to India GCCs. That is what I would say.
No, no, thank you so much. And I would just ask you another question. Now that we're talking about, IP creation being done out of India, the product engineering we're talking about. So what about the talent? How do you see this talent shaping up?
Okay. So I would say that, right, in terms of from a talent angle, we will get more people who understand once I would I will classify it into few sets. So if you sort of allow me to, one set will be the engineering set, right? Will be experts in data engineering, will be very good in prompt engineering, will be sort of the data scientist kind of roles that will come to India, because traditionally and even now we are very strong in the engineering capability. That skill will definitely be there. The second skill that will be built in is nothing else but the domain skills. You will have to differentiate with AI. What you can deliver out of India is through the business knowledge. And for that, somebody should be an expert in wholesale banking, within that wholesale payments, within wholesale payments, how, right, in terms of cross border payments works. I need to look at things in terms of to the nth level, in terms of understanding the business functionality and what will have to be done. That is the domain expertise that will the talent pool will come to it, right? The third pillar I would consider in terms of this thing is the processes that needs to be put in place. And when I say processes, it will also involve governance, it'll involve the risk, it'll involve, right, in terms of the risk regulations, and it'll involve cyber skills, it'll involve the reg capability, so on and so forth, in addition to the processes that you need to define. So your talent is going to be divided into three large pillars. First is going to be predominantly engineering focused. The second one is predominantly, and it is mandatory to focus on the domain expertise and the knowledge of the business to the nth level, that where people will be comfortable to speak the language of the field that they are in, right? In terms of, I'm talking about financial services, and I took the
Yeah.
example of wholesale banker, but it can be anything else, right? For that matter. And the last one is going to be processes, including risk and regulatory and the governance part of it. That is the way I see in terms of the skill sets moving towards, and also having leaders and the maturity that will come in, right, as we go through the AI, right, in terms of the journey for the next 10 years. We are going to see a lot of shift in terms of the leadership also coming into India. That's what I feel, Rama,
No,
in
thank you
this.
so much. I think I did very valid points. Whether you're talking about wholesale backend, whether you're talking about payments, whether you're talking about mortgages, you're talking about KYC for a lot of these, banks and all, even high end, as you mentioned, engineering is being done from India. So it's rightly that you mentioned. And I think you touched a very good point about on the governance side, about the cybersecurity, the risk management as well. So I think there's a very fundamental point and important for our, MNCs, I would say the mid-size and the larger MNCs looking at as to how is that, India is evolving in the banking sector. So thank you so much for this. I would, ask you a related question. And this is more from a, India is positioning itself as a global digital innovation economy. You already spoke about few of the stuff here, but how do you see next generation GCCs contributing to India's broader vision of becoming a global technology, AI, and knowledge capital?
Beautiful question. I think it's a very important thing to for us to reflect. We all think that GCC contribute only to their global institutions wherever they are, right? Whether they are in US or they are in Europe or in Australia or wherever. But that's not the truth. The truth is, like, in my brain, GCCs are powerful, force multipliers for India's economic vision at the end of the day, right? This is just not like, in terms of somebody sitting in their office in a lovely campus and trying to build, a trade finance system, or trying to get AI for, right, in terms of their lending or their relationship management and wealth management or anything of that sort, right? They create not only high value jobs, they deepen advanced skills, be it in AI or engineering or anything that I spoke about. And also, they will create global IP ownership in India because it's going to be very, very important. You can already see the kind of patents that are filed out of India by many GCCs. And that's like, sort of, I would say, reaching a very good number, right? In terms of what they can also add you. And they also integrate in my brain the talent directly into global value chain, right? At the end of the day, not as third party vendors, but as strategic builders because they build from the scratch, right? Over time, I believe, right, which is already happening, but it'll happen further as we improve upon the technology and the kind of things that we need to do. We'll also catalyze the startup ecosystems, academia partnerships, which are already happening, and cross border innovation networks, which are all very, very important, right? So, in that sense, I just don't think that they just serve the global enterprise. They strengthen India's technology, sovereignty, and also the global influence in a very silent way, but also in a way that it will be highly disruptive looking at the scale. If you look at the data, it will be staring at you to say that they're really doing that disruption. That's the way I see this in terms of doing it.
No, no, thank you so much. I think it will not be wise for me if I don't ask you a question because you are working a lot with the governments, whether it's RBI or even with the state governments. So, how do you see governments playing a role here?
See, I think few things, right? One, attracting the global players to coming into the country. That is being played mostly by state government and also an amount of influence from the central government, right? In terms of making it attractive, right? Will be state government's job. But giving the geopolitical stability, making sure that we have a large talent pool and we do have the systems in place, right, in terms of at the India stack, India digital economy, the India 2047 Viksit Bharat vision, so on and so forth. Actually, and the kind of disruption we have done through UPI, so on and so forth. Indian government does so much in terms of the investments on the digital economy to grow. That's a commitment to the global world to say that you can happily come to my country, right, in terms of doing that. Then the states do play a role in terms of attracting the right kind of, I would say, players to come and set up the centers. It's number one, making sure that the process is easy, acquisition of land is easy, making sure that the setups can come up quickly. We do have people to enable that, and we do have consultants like us at the end of the day also helping people to do it, so on and so forth. I think the country has it now, has it and seen it and doing it for in a regular manner. And we are also seeing people coming into the country on a very, very regular basis, right? In terms of now we have started like looking at Japanese banks coming in. We are looking at, right, in terms of multiple other Australian banks came in few years back, and we had American banks already there, right? And UK banks for the past 20, 30 years. It's been a journey for the past 30 years, literally. Right. So the government plays a significant role in multiple ways. And as I said, state government plays different roles and central government plays different roles. That's the way I would look at it.
No, no, thank you so much. And I think that's a good thing. You also mentioned about, Viksit Bharat 2047. So, I would just like to bring the last question, which is like, how do you see, 10 years from now, this Indian GCC ecosystem playing a role here?
Absolutely. Again, an interesting question. This is like I always tell people, right? When we look back or when the boards do look back, I believe, right, in terms of the GCC ecosystems will be seen as the architect behind the scenes, right? Because that's why I said the data will speak for itself, right? And the place where truly modern enterprises learned how to scale AI technology and the responsibly in a way that innovation will be done and in a manner to say how resilience is so important in an uncertain world because it's going to be truly important for the global institutions to follow that. So that is what we will all learn and the data will prove that, and that is what will be the contribution of GCCs. And GCCs will not be just remembered as offshore centers but as strategic institutions that redefined how global enterprises really think, decide, and compete. We will know, and it's a learning exercise, right? When you say, I'm a product owner of X and Y in a particular bank, and today, and I'm a process owner of a particular bank in this country from India, you learn how to think, how to decide, and how to compete. So it's a global learning also parallelly that is happening with the workforce, which is like, not like the visibility that, ideally we do give to them, right? That's the way I see it. But this will happen in a way that it will be so disruptive.
No, thank you so much. I think, Gayatri, the conversation is so interesting. I mean, I feel very sad to kind of, break that in the middle. But no, thank you so much. And I think you rightly summarized the entire journey very, nicely, and also giving us example about, what the government is doing and what kind of a next generation can look like, next 10 years could look like on the banking industry. I think, thank you so much. Our viewers are going to definitely learn a lot from this, and especially for the mid-sized companies which are looking at exploring India, that can definitely be a very good point to look at and reflect back that they didn't need to uh, worry about it if they're not in India. That they need to worry about more. I think that's important. Kind of there. So once again, thank you so much, Gayatri, for coming to our podcast and sharing your views with our viewers.
Thank you very much, Rama, for the opportunity. Lovely to meet you today, and absolutely hope it was useful, and look forward to connecting with you again pretty soon. Thanks and have a great day. Bye bye.
And for the viewers, thank you so much for tuning into this special episode of Bhoom of Bharat. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights on the ideas and innovation shaping our world. If you have any thoughts or stories to share on this topic, we would love to hear from you. You could connect with me on LinkedIn SRK Game Changers, or drop your questions in our website srkgamechangers.com. Until next time, namaste from Bhoom of Bharat.
Thank you.